And welcome to Car Con Carne, still being held here in captivity. It's Quarantine Con Carne. I'm James Van Osdol, and my guests today are the writer, director, and lead actor of the new movie GetAWay, which is out tomorrow on VOD and DVD. It is writer-director Blayne Weaver. It is lead actor Emma Norville. Good evening to you both on the eve of this video release. Thanks for taking time out.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're very excited to talk about this movie.
Yes.
As you should be. I loved watching it. I watched it over the weekend. One thing we need to get out of the way before we really dig into the movie is the fact that Emma is there with her cat. And this
Right.
is one of the great things about doing these Zoom meetings is we get to see people's pets. I mean, you both are very interesting. Yes, the movie's great, but I want to know about the cat. What's the cat's name?
Well, actually, there's a little controversy over the cat's name. So when we adopted the cat, all of the kittens were named after Little Women. So she was Amy. But it was technically my brother's cat, and he loves pickles, so he renamed her Pickle. I don't like pickles at all, so I call her Amy, and he calls her Pickle. So
Pickle sounds like the nickname that like an older woman in the 50s who smokes a lot of cigarettes would have. That's Pickles down the block. You're standing outside with a rolling pin. So GetAWay.
I love that there's a Little Women tie-in with Emma sitting in her library chair, and it just seems very appropriate.
Well, and let's face it, if you like Little Women, you're going to love GetAWay, a movie that's available on VOD and
Sure.
DVD tomorrow.
lots of similarities.
So to summarize, a bunch of college students head off to the woods. There's no cell phone reception anywhere, and they're there to film a horror movie. Given that setup, I'm surprised that things didn't work out exactly as they were planned.
It's shocking, isn't it, that it didn't it's a perfect scenario for mayhem to ensue, and that's what happens.
There's a lot of mayhem. So a couple carloads of student filmmakers, they head off. They have big plans to film a horror movie, and the personalities involved of all these students, just a wonderful mix of insecurities. And Emma's character, Maddie, we learned very early, she's trying to get over a breakup with Noah. He's kind of a dick, but he's dating Kayla now. That's a problem. I mean, Maddie could do so much better. But this breakup really did something to Maddie, and she really needs this getaway. And early on, there's this moment where Maddie jumps in the car. Noah's already in there with Kayla, and it's like a Hello Newman moment out of Seinfeld. Like, hello, Noah. Hello, Kayla. And I love, Blayne, the car rides, these trips out to the woods. This is where you do all the character setup for the movie. This is where we learn everything we need to know about all the people involved. There's Catherine, the pretentious empath. I forgot the character's name. You obviously know me from my student government work.
Well, that was Christelle, but I can't remember her character name. What was her character name? Abigail. Because yes, Abigail.
We learn everything we need to know there. This movie it's like an old school slasher flick, but it's a very postmodern take on a slasher movie. It's a very meta presence. I mean, early on in the movie, if you want to get meta, it's established that the slasher flick is the lowest form of entertainment. Like you start the movie laughing at yourself. Blayne, this had to have been fun to write.
It was amazingly fun to write. I had an old version of a movie that was kind of like this, but when we, dropped into making this movie in a very tight schedule with the actors that we had, we kind of kept playing and playing and playing with the actors, adding, pieces to everything. And everything that I've experienced making movies, from independent film, all the way up to bigger movies, everything that I thought was funny about making movies worked its way into this. And every obstacle that we hit whilst making this movie about making movies worked its way into the movie. So it was a very fun scripting process, which carried on throughout the entire shooting.
Well, and independent filmmaking doesn't always make it through production without some incidents or some setbacks or challenges along the way. What experiences did this bring about?
Well, I'll set this up and then throw it to Emma, because I know she's got tons of things about it. But the entire nature of us making this movie was a surprise. I had gone to Winchester, Virginia to make a Lifetime movie, and I was in prep to direct this movie. and the financing fell through very suddenly. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to Los Angeles. And then the film studio at Shenandoah, which was the production company we were dealing with there, was like, well, hold on, you're here. What do you think? Is there anything that we could come up with? And, you know, they gave me a modest budget, and we started brainstorming, and I had this older script, and we did some retooling. And I was working at the university at the time, and I was working, Shenandoah University has a great actors conservatory. So like, I was thinking about like pulling some of these actors and doing this crazy movie, but we only had 5 weeks. So we tore into making this movie basically with the script constantly in flux, and new talent that had never been on a movie set, and myself and the DP and the producer, the only people that were on set. And so it was crazy from the beginning to the end, dealing with shooting all nights, shooting at a location that had shut the water off. That worked into the movie. It was incredibly cold in Virginia, more so than in LA. So there were constant surprises, and my cast rolled with it. Emma, take it.
Let's see. Things are always destined to go not exactly as you planned. Like, there would be shirts that would get torn, and a few scenes later, Blayne realizes, wait, we need that shirt not torn. How can we fix this up and make it look like an unstabbed shirt?
Continuity matters.
Apparently it does.
Yeah, some people do notice.
For sure.
And it snowed right near the end of our shoot. We still had a significant amount that we needed to get done, but we had kind of established that we were filming in fall, and it was kind of fall weather, I think. And then all of a sudden there's snow everywhere, so we had to set up shots around the snow and crop it out a little bit. I think in some shots you can still kind of see it, but
if you're looking for it, you can. Thank goodness we didn't pretend it was summer. Like, you know, that very easily could have happened, but we were like, no, it's fall. Everybody can wear jackets. And we had no idea when we made that decision how thankful we would be in the middle of the night, in the middle of the woods, covered in sticky, sugar-coated blood, how important those coats would be.
Because 5 weeks on paper sounds to someone who doesn't make movies, sounds like a long time. That's over a month. But in reality, I mean, you're just, that's a relentless schedule to do all of the stuff you had to do.
We're working around everyone's schedule. And I mean, we were conservatory students, so we had class all day long. And then some people had jobs, and some people had other extra things that they had to attend to. So I'm sure Blayne was just tearing his hair out, trying to figure out how to get everyone in one place at one time.
It was honestly the hardest shoot that I've ever done. And like, specifically, an important caveat to that was that some shoots can be very difficult because of the personalities involved. And this was not that at all. Everybody was on board. Everybody was very excited about making, you know, the film, which is great. But we were dealing with all of these things where me as an independent filmmaker was like, oh, great. We'll just go to this campground. We'll shoot all day, shoot all night, and then sleep all day, and then shoot that. But everyone had these schedules that, because we were in town to shoot this other movie, we hadn't prepped all of this other stuff. So we were suddenly juggling everyone's schedule, which was crazy. And the snow day that Emma mentioned destroyed us, because everyone was leaving town the day before Thanksgiving. So we had like 2 days to finish the movie. We did a 19-hour day, which is the longest day I've ever done on a movie. Luckily, most of the actors weren't there all the time. I think Emma might have been. I think from the beginning to the end.
We spent a lot of time together, Blayne.
We did, but we get to send people home. Oh my goodness, it was very trying. And all of the end of the second act climax, right? All of the stuff that leads to the third act, which, James, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil anything, but that was all shot in order, middle of the night. We wrapped as the sun was coming up, and that was the last day of shooting.
That's amazing. So the character that Emma plays. Maddie, very vulnerable girl next door. Emma's very believable, very likable in this role. Blayne, how did you know that Emma was your Maddie? What was it? And Emma, if this is embarrassing or weird to listen to this, you can cover your ears or something.
Well, we had a meeting. I think, didn't we meet before you auditioned, or did you audition first?
Which meeting?
Basically, I think you came in and auditioned, and I was like, I want you to star in this movie. Can you do this? Do you have time to do this? Are you available to do this? Because it's a lot. You're everything. The movie is on your shoulders. Like, yeah. And but it was a quick love affair for me of like, she's it. She can do it. She can do the whole thing. And like, I want her. And then we did some rewriting of the script just basically because I knew Maddie or I knew Emma, and I'm like, this is now who Maddie is. But is that how you remember it, Emma?
Yeah, and I also remember us watching all of our auditions because we filmed all of them, and just seeing how everyone's roles kind of evolved, because we had a sample of the script, and we had an idea of the characters, but they really shifted based on who was playing the role. All the roles were, I think, perfect for each individual person playing them. It was, their antics were very specific to them. Not saying that, Kira's a pretentious empath,
right? But she can
but
do that.
she can do that really well.
Yeah.
So I think that really, affected the outcome of it.
That was most of the rewrites that happened, James, was we would take the essence of what we had and pivot, because there were so many things that were in the original script that we couldn't accomplish on our budget level or where we were or whatever. So we were constantly hitting walls and pivoting. And I think the stuff that I'm the most proud of is the building the characters around the talent that we had, and shining what they're the best at, and that was really satisfying.
I'm just, I mentioned it before, I'm just impressed with how well defined they were before any action really happened. You had a really clear sense of who the parties were and what their motivations were.
One of the best benefits of this situation was we were at this university and we had rehearsal time, so we could sit there and read through, and the kids could tell me how bad my dialogue is for 20 seconds. And I would go back and change it and be like, oh, people don't talk like this anymore, and make a little adjustment. And all of a sudden, I'm the voice of youth in America.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. Emma, this is your first feature film.
Yes.
Did this raise or lower the bar for future movie making for you?
I mean, I definitely the coolest thing I've done thus far. But I mean, I've gone on to do some other things, some other indie projects, which have also been cool. But this, I mean, being the lead in a slasher film is a very unique experience, one that I wish for everyone. But
and again, it's almost reductive just to call it a slasher film, because it has a very modern feel. It just, the meta presentation, I think, elevates it beyond the typical, oh, there's a scarecrow killer in the woods. There's more going on there. One of the modern spins in this movie is the notion of kids who just want to be famous. We're in an era of social media influencers, TikTok stars, viral videos. That feels especially resonant. Was that something you were trying to get across, Blayne?
I have, you can ask Emma about this, because I have a lot of opinions about things. I have a lot of very strong opinions about things, and I have an opinion about that, which irritates me a lot. I talk a lot about where if you're an artist, you're an artist, and if fame comes with that, fantastic. But that's can't be the reason you do this kind of thing. So the meta part of the movie is so much based on things that irritate me, things that amuse me, things that I see a lot, and we were able to build it all into a student horror film project, of like a microcosm of everything that happens in indie film and bigger film. Like, it's not really that different. You see the same, archetypes in all of it. But yeah, that bugs me. So I did want to comment a little bit on that, I guess.
Emma, any thoughts on that?
I feel like you can really tell it's where Blayne's writing is right when they get out at the campsite and they're checking to see if their Wi-Fi is working. And the one person says like, oh, Snapchat's working. And then the other one says, oh, that's weird. Let me check Insta and see if that's working. I was like, that's such a, I don't think any millennial person would be like, oh, internet's not working there. Let me check this other app to see if the internet's working on this one.
I see it. I'm telling you, I see it. Yes.
So timing wise, we were talking about this a little bit before we started. This has been the year for horrors, especially VOD. And it's worth mentioning again, GetAWay out tomorrow. We're recording this on Tuesday, the 21st, out tomorrow, the 22nd on VOD and DVD. I don't know what it is about the pandemic or the fact that we're in this perpetual state of existential dread, but horror really has connected this year. So I think timing wise, as we're all, cheerfully watching Elf and Christmas Vacation, I think a movie like this couldn't be better positioned. It's like an antidote to all that.
I mean, I think so. I when we first got the drop date from Gravitas Ventures, it was like, oh, right in the middle of Christmas. That's strange, but okay. But the more I thought about it, the more it made perfect sense, because I made a movie called Santa Girl, which is on Netflix right now, and that was a shameless plug.
It works.
Just shameless plug. It's fine.
Sell it.
But after I made Santa Girl, I wanted to make something completely different, and so I made GetAWay. And so I get that the viewing audience would feel very similar to how I felt. If they're like, hey, Christmas is great. Here's Santa, here's some elves. This is all super fun. Let's do something really dark now. I need to see some, blood and craziness right now. And then you can go back and you can watch some more, Christmas spirit films.
I think horror, it's like going to the amusement park. It's like that visceral feeling you have when you go up the track and you hit the precipice and you're about to go careening down. That's the way I feel watching horror. It's that thrill. It's that excitement. Like, oh shit, I'm facing something that scares me, and it keeps me regular. I love horror.
That's how I feel about it. I want people to watch GetAWay and have the scares, have the feeling of dread, but also have a couple of laughs, have some fun, and then eat their popcorn. And at the end of the day, be like, man, that was great. That's what we want this ride to be.
One of my favorite moments happens early in the movie. It's the encounter with the hillbilly woman. It's the discovery of the scarecrow face picked up by the side of the road. As far as look goes, I think it's important for a movie like this, for a horror movie, for a slasher movie, to nail the visual of the monster, the big bad. Was the scarecrow face something that you had in your head all along? Was it a revelation down the road?
It's funny how backwards it came about, because it's like I just wrote that, a long time ago without thinking much of it. And I haven't revisited it while we were doing pre-production. But I have this costume designer, production designer, Taylor Gray Burke, who's great and I've worked with before. And I just have the utmost confidence in her. But she brought this mask in and I'm like, this is it. Like, this could literally be on a actual scarecrow, removed, and then be the scariest mask in the world. Like us playing with that mask the day that we got it, like we were still 2 weeks out from shooting, and I'm running around with this mask on because that's the kind of nerd I am. Yeah, Emma can test. But it was just hiring great people to do their job and letting them play, and that was Taylor going off, being creative and coming back. And I'm like, man, that's scary.
What's interesting, as I'm watching this movie, I think I kind of know where it's going. It's kind of set up so you can kind of, you think you have it figured out. I didn't have it figured out at all. I really, and that's, I mean, a lot of historical slasher movies are pretty predictable. This isn't predictable at all. And I love the fact that it took a turn I didn't see coming. That made it more thrilling for me. When the thing I'm referring to happened, I'm just looking at, I'm watching on my desktop computer. I'm like, no shit. Okay. And I love it. Again, the movie is GetAWay, out tomorrow on VOD and DVD. Takeaways. This experience, you did it in record time. It plays great. what are both your takeaways from making this movie as you move forward in your careers?
Emma, hit it.
Well, I mean, this movie in particular, I really love, gathering my friends and watching it with them. Because it's just so satisfying for me to, see their reactions just to everything. I've had some people, reach out and say, Emma, I want to watch this movie, but scary movies aren't my thing and I don't want to be afraid. And I'm just like, it's not scary. And then I'm just like, wait a minute. I don't think it's scary because I know it happens.
Right.
It's not everybody's experience. So it's interesting, watching it with other people and seeing like what spooks them, like what they laugh at. And, they're always asking me, oh, is it this person? Is it this person? I'm just like, I'm not telling. You can't get it out of me.
Yeah, spend the hour and a half. You'll get there. It'll be a pleasant ride. Blayne, how
Right.
about you?
I'm gonna ruin it.
Don't ruin it, Emma. This, what I love about being a director, being a writer director, is that I get to make the movie that I want to see. This is the kind of horror film that I love. It's fun, it's scary, it's surprising, and I feel like we pulled together this great cast and this great visual. And Chad McLaren is my DP and producer, and Paul DeFranco is my producer. We made a movie that we wanted to sit and enjoy, and there's nothing more satisfying than finishing it and being like, this is awesome. I love this movie. And that's how I feel about Getaway, and I hope other people are like me. And
Doesn't that go back to what you were saying earlier about being an artist? You created a movie that spoke to your artistic inclinations. You did what you felt was true to your interest.
I think that's absolutely true. And since we've made Getaway, I've watched so many horror films and new releases and older releases, and I feel like there's so few that achieve what I like. I'm not saying that they aren't right for somebody else, but this movie is definitely it, and I'm so proud of it, and I really hope people like it.
It's a ton of fun to watch. Again, Getaway. Without even going too far down this road, you could, in theory, make another Getaway movie.
That could happen. That could happen very easily.
I said that exact same thing.
I'm not saying who's still alive, but there might be some people
if anyone
that
is
can further this story. You have to watch all the way to the end to really figure that out.
but in theory, if and when this takes off on VOD, there might be interest in you going back into the woods with a bunch of fresh-faced college kids.
I ain't scared of it. I want some more money for it this time. But not for me, you understand. Just so that we have heat. Is heat okay, James? Can I have heat and running water?
Yeah.
Not allowed.
Some of those newfangled modern amenities. Yeah.
It would kind of change the dynamic, wouldn't it, Emma, if we actually had, a warm place to go
and wardrobe.
It wouldn't have been as real.
It's funny, but it's true that I was the person being like, oh, what do we do with this outfit? Taylor, where? She'd be off doing something else. But so many times it was me pouring the blood on people's faces and being like, don't worry about it. This is great.
Sorry.
Again, Emma's performance, definitely a standout. Very well selected or well cast. As Maddie, so it's the girl next door. It's that innocent, vulnerable. It's hard to get across as well as you did, Emma. So really nice job with.
Thank you so much.
with this movie.
But let me just remind you, I get full credit for that because that was my decision.
It's all Blayne.
Yes, Blayne, you're the best.
My performance.
Obviously,
Emma's amazing. Gotta hand it to him.
We're all humbled and awed. Blayne, you're amazing.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yes, there it is. What a fun movie. And again, the timing, I think it's great. I think sometimes we just need to withdraw from the very polite, sugary world of the holidays and dig into something like a good old-fashioned fun slasher movie with twists and fun characters. And you guys nailed it. I love it. I recommend people check it out this week.
Thank you.
I would say when they're at home, we're all at home, they should just check it out. It goes without saying. Yeah,
absolutely.
We're not going anywhere. We're at the movie.
Get in there, turn the lights off, watch a scary movie, have a glass of wine because all movies are better after a glass of wine, and be scared for a little bit.
Yeah, the more you drink, the better everything seems.
It's true.
any
Sure.
form of entertainment. Blayne and Emma, thank you so much for doing this.
What
Thanks
a
for
pleasure.
having us.
Thank you, James.